Wow. All right. This is new to me. I felt, compelled to share my thoughts online for I think a while now, and I've kind of procrastinated it, but I think this will be good for my future self to see how I've pushed through different, trials in my life, and maybe it'll benefit somebody else who watches this. Maybe my experiences will benefit you. I just feel compelled to share this, and I'm going to probably start doing this more. It'll help me just be more confident in myself, just sharing this, and maybe just gain some insight about what I actually believe if I just talk about it and share my thoughts, right? I just wanted to talk about how being alone or lonely, or just being in a phase of life where you feel like there's not a lot going on, and it feels like it's just you with you all the time. And I have had a phase for a while now where it has kind of felt like that, right? And I've had to learn to really just love myself. I think for the past year, I've had some experiences that have caused me to really reflect on, what makes me me, and how am I special? Where do I find my self-worth? And these are real things people struggle with, man. I struggle with this still. Just wanted to start off with a quick, experience. When I was, maybe about a year ago, I've had some really bad acne. You can probably see the scarring and everything, but I was not diagnosed. The doctor prescribed, Accutane for me. After my acne, just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I mean, I have pictures of it. I'll actually probably show you a picture of it, where it was just getting pretty bad. And this kind of was the start of a phase of life that I didn't see the benefit, that I would be receiving from it. I just want to go ahead and show you guys, what my face kind of looked like through this. I mean, yeah, here we go. Maybe you guys can see. That's what my face looked like. It looks a lot better. It looked like a year ago. Isn't that crazy? But yeah. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I was put on Accutane, and I was put on Accutane, after, earlier in the year, I had, planned on going to do a humanitarian trip with a bunch of other people my age, kind of it's called HXP. It's basically where you and 20 other kids, I don't know, that are your age, go with some leaders to, serve other people in different countries, to kind of experience the culture and give, right? And I planned this trip probably, 3 or 4 months before I was, putting myself on Accutane and trying to just fix my acne, because it was, going crazy, right? And I had already put an expectation on this trip that it would be amazing, that it would, that I would be able to experience so much things. I had, what I thought it would be, I'd already had it visualized, right? And as soon as I took this medication, I kind of, I thought maybe saying this could affect it, but I think I was kind of stubborn, and I didn't really think that, it would take that long for my acne to, be resolved, to heal, right? So I didn't think much of it, but, as the time to the trip got closer, and as the Accutane just kept, just kicking my butt, and it got to the point where, I realized that, I was going to go on this trip looking the worst I've ever looked, right? And, those who've been on Accutane, or, known someone that has, I mean, it really, messes with your mental health. And, sometimes I was just depressed a little bit. I, didn't have the greatest mental health through it. It kind of took a lot of things that I had been suppressing, like, fear of being judged, or fear of being like the center of attention, or fear of being different from everybody. It kind of pushed that out, kind of forced it out of me, forced me to experience those feelings, those emotions. So, through the, having Accutane, on the start of this trip and through that summer, I just would say I was alone a lot. Probably because I didn't feel comfortable, being around other people, or it was just a different phase of life for me. It was a season of change, and I didn't really like it, to be honest with you. Especially on that trip. I remember flying out of, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, flying out of Phoenix to LA to meet my group for the first time, and I remember just not feeling like myself, and I remember the feeling of, it just felt like I was carrying like weight of something around while I was trying to introduce myself, while I was trying to just be the person I kind of like built up myself to be, right? And that person had flaws. That person still struggles with today. I still struggle with those flaws, just fear of judgment, fear of what others think. I've never really been confrontational. I wasn't very confident in myself. I wouldn't say I wasn't confident, but I wasn't as confident as I am now. So I met my group, and we started the trip off, and it was fun. We had some great moments. I mean, I didn't feel like I was cast out, or I was disregarded on the trip. I just remember there's a lot of times where I found myself alone, or not making the same connections as people did with other people on that trip, right? And I just remember just being like with myself a lot, and just like reflecting on why I felt this way, like why I had this condition of like why I had to have my face looking like that, or why I couldn't be something else, or why I wasn't different than acting different, and there's one thing I did do on that trip that I remember and I'm very grateful for, is I journaled every day, and I would just journal what I felt that day. I journaled through what I believed was my problems. I recorded those. I recorded the good, the highs. There were some highs on that trip. I enjoyed that trip a lot. I journaled those things too, right? So, I journaled everything on that trip, and I remember as I was journaling, I kind of discovered things about myself I don't think I would have discovered if I, wasn't forced to feel raw emotions, such as judgment, such as people looking at you because you are different, such as, being seen for who you really are and not the fake persona that you put over yourself, right? And that is a scary feeling, when you've lived with that fake persona over who you truly are. And I believe that, God kind of intervened in my life and said that you are more. And this is something that you're going to have to go through, and you're going to learn from it, right? And just looking on that experience now of just going on a trip to another country, 25 people I never met before, and just trying to, trying to be myself, trying to, integrate into a group like that, was rough, right? I mean, these people had never even seen me before my acne, before I had a condition, before my purge. So they saw me for who I was in that moment. And I remember I just wasn't confident for a while. But slowly, I was able to put things down. I was able to let it go, let go of my ego a little bit. And I was able to just kind of accept it almost in a way. It sure sucked. There's reminders all the time, dry skin, bloody nose, cracked lips. All the side effects were, happening to me on like the most extreme levels at that time, because I was at the peak of the medication point. And I developed some good friends, and had some great, deep conversations and made some good relationships with people, even though I didn't feel as confident, where I wasn't, seeing myself as the best version of myself. I noticed that people accepted me for who I was, even when I couldn't really accept myself. And I remember leaving that trip feeling like it, was a waste a little bit at that time, right? Even though I had helped a lot of people, I had met people, I had served, I, kind of gave a lot to other people, I still felt like it was a little bit of a waste and that it didn't live up to the expectation that I had of the trip, right? And I remember coming back and, going on a couple trips with my family and just living life after with this, with the Accutane, right? And I'm just going to sum this up because I have so much experiences while being on this medication. I just, over the course of the 8 months I was on this on the Accutane, I learned how to be alone. I learned that it's okay to be alone. I learned that, having quiet moments to yourself and, giving yourself time to think actually shows you what you need and almost what you believe. And once you, get a hold of that thought and that feeling, you kind of unlock yourself almost, right? And you stop wanting to be fake, or you stop wanting to do what everyone else is doing because you have an internal agenda. And that's so important. And I learned that. I learned that through being alone, through being judged by people, through looking different, through being broken down to almost like the most raw version of myself possible, which was humbling, right? But look at me now. Look at my skin, right? Look at my skin. And I would never in a million years be making this video when I was on Accutane with the prior mindset that I had, right? But now I realize that it's not the outside that matters. It's not what I look like or my imperfections. It's about what's on the inside, right? And I can live with myself in a way that I'm proud of because I was able to live through that season of being, alone, being kind of not myself. And I just want to let everyone else know that if you feel like you're going through that season, if you feel like you're, not understood by other people, maybe people judge you for something that's physical, or maybe you have social anxiety, things of that nature. I just want to tell you that I've been through that too. And it gets better. It honestly gets better. Just persevere. Try and see God. Try and talk to Him daily. I know He's there. I can just testify that, man. He is there. And, through, learning about myself, through being alone, I found myself. Right? And now I've, built on that. I've built a self-love that is, almost addicting, right? I loved being different now at this point in my life. I wanted to just share, I want to share and show you what the possibilities are if you almost just let go of that fake version of yourself, if you let go of that ego just a little bit, right? And if you don't let go of it, maybe God will tell you, or will put you in a position where you must let go of it because you are chosen. God needs you to be yourself. There's a reason you're going through this, right? I mean, God gives His strongest battles to His toughest soldiers, right? I believe in you. I mean, look at me. I got a long life to live. But I've also, I've experienced things that are hard, and I've realized that they are for my benefit. So I know I've kind of gone a little bit off track than what the original topic of this video, was. I just wanted to end with a couple points that I wanted to share, which is just, it's so awesome. I just wanted to share, when you're lonely, you don't get to escape yourself. You don't get to outsource comfort. You don't get to borrow identity from anyone else. You don't get to hide behind other people's shadows. And at first, that feels like loss, sorry. Like something is missing, right? Like you're being left behind. But it slowly turns into something else. You start learning how to talk to yourself instead of tearing yourself apart. You start learning how to sit with your emotions without immediately needing someone to save you from them. You learn to stay. And you know what that means to me was to stay present, to not wish that the trial was over. I learned, the value in experiencing the hard for what it was and accepting that that's what your reality looked like at that moment, right? And that's where self-love becomes real. Not because you chose it, but because you had to choose it. It was the only option for you, right? Because loneliness doesn't ask if you're ready. It just puts you alone with your thoughts and says, figure it out. Most people never sit there long enough. They fill the silence. They distract themselves. They reach for anyone, anything, just not to feel it. But if you stay and start realizing that loving yourself isn't about feeling amazing, it's about not abandoning yourself when things get uncomfortable. And that's when God shows up in a different way. Because when it's just you and the noise is gone and the distractions don't work anymore, you realize you were never meant to be carried by people. You were meant to be carried by Him. Some of the most honest moments with God don't come from strength or clarity. They come from loneliness, from sitting there with nothing left to say, realizing that you can't fix yourself on your own, realizing that you need God, you need Christ, and that dependence changes you. Christ teaches you how to love yourself without worshiping yourself. And that's a big one right there. I just want to let you know that it's okay to love yourself, even if you aren't okay with yourself in a way, because you can be whole without being whole. And what I mean by that is that what is inside must be fixed before you can go on and fix your outside, right? Fix your appearance. Nothing about wanting your appearance to be different is bad. But the real value of what makes you you is your soul, is what makes you different from other people, is how you experience, how you feel. And no one's alike in that way, and that's beautiful. Just remember that. Remember, Christ teaches you how to love yourself without worshiping yourself, how to be whole without being filled by the world, how to sit in silence and not feel empty. And once you learn that, self-love stops being loud and becomes steady. You stop chasing attention. You stop begging to be understood. You stop fearing to stand alone or be alone. Because you've already been there. You've already sat with yourself. And God met you there. And this makes sense to you. You didn't read it. You recognized it. And that's where I believe loneliness is where self-love starts to begin. Not the kind you decide to have, but the kind that forms when it's just you with yourself and there's nowhere else to place your weight. No one is there to carry your emotions for you, and you're forced to stay present with your own thoughts longer than you plan to. And that's okay.